Well, I'm sure you at home can relate to this. The pandemic has resulted in many of us finding ourselves in financial hardships, including a lot of debt. Don't worry, we are here to give you some ways to get out of it, help consolidate it. We've got Jeremiah Mooney. He's the Collections and Recovery Manager with Spero Financial. Jeremiah, thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Megan. It's great to be with you today.
Yes, I'm glad
Thanks
to
for having
talk
me on.
about this. Yeah, absolutely. Debt can be such a scary thing for people, and sometimes you just get so overwhelmed, you don't even know where to start. So what are some solutions that you can provide to really maybe help people manage their debt?
Yeah, that's really a wonderful question, Megan. I'm glad we're having this conversation. I think that debt. I know that debt was an issue for many folks, many of your listeners here in South Carolina prior to the hardship caused by COVID-19. But I think that COVID really it highlighted the issue. It was a surprise for all of us, and I think left many of us struggling, whether it be, being out of work for several weeks, whether it's sick loved ones, maybe those layoffs that happened particularly early on during the pandemic. These were all issues that we encountered. So I think it's a wonderful question to deal with our debt and come up with some good solutions to hopefully help us out here. The first thing I would say is just the importance of having a budget or a spending plan, something that you and your family, your household stick to, that you review on a periodic basis. That, I think, is the single most important method of dealing with debt. Having a budget, having a spending plan, trying to build up that emergency fund, that rainy day fund for when things do happen. But in terms of specific strategies or methods of dealing with debt, go through a few very specific options. One would be the debt snowball. You may have heard of the debt snowball, right? So that's where you take all your debts, your credit cards, student loans, whatever the case may be, all the way up to your auto loan, your mortgage, and you list them out really by order of balance. You're not really paying too much attention to the interest rate. Don't care too much about the interest rate on these under the debt snowball method, but you start to knock out the small debts first. So if there's a small medical bill, say for $200, you want to get that one paid first, and then that monthly payment that you allocated to the smallest debt, you pay on the next biggest one up, all the way up to your auto loan and your mortgage. This method really focuses on the psychological momentum that is gained from that you pick up from paying off, seeing being able to cross it off your list or delete it off your Excel spreadsheet. Another method, switching over, is the debt avalanche method, right? So you may have heard of this one, and this one is for maybe the more nerdy, finance people like me who are paying attention to interest rates and all the numbers. And and under this method, you're really not paying attention as much to the balance, although you are to a degree. You're really looking at the interest rate, and you want to start with the highest interest rate, whether that be maybe there's a payday loan out there with a really outrageous interest rate. You want to tackle that one first. Save yourself probably the most money in the long term. Not really caring too much about balance under this method, but you're trying to get the highest interest rate debt paid first, then down to the lowest. Another, and I think a key method that you can use is debt consolidation. If you have a lot of those payday loans, or you have a lot of those high interest rate credit cards, even some medical bills, and just a lot of payments going everywhere, think about debt consolidation. Maybe a fixed rate personal loan can be a great solution for dealing with this, or perhaps a credit card that offers that low or even 0% intro APR to roll your debt into. That can be a great solution as well. So these are just a few of those methods.
What are the difference between the debt consolidation and then debt settlement?
Yeah, wonderful question. So debt consolidation is really taking out a new loan. It's the act of taking out a new loan to pay off all of your existing debts, or as many of your existing debts as possible. I would classify debt settlement as a form of debt relief on existing debts. You're not going out and getting a new loan. You are actually calling your creditors and seeing if you can actually settle those or pay less than the full balance owed in order to clear it off of your credit. I would offer, just from my experience in the in the credit union industry and talking to a good number of members about debt settlement. If you're going to settle a debt, before you pay a dime to any creditor across the board, no matter who you owe money to, make sure you know what you're getting into. Make sure you know how it's going to report to credit. Make sure that you know about any ramifications down the road if you agree to pay 50% of that delinquent or charged off balance.
I was gonna say, how could some of this affect your credit score? I mean, we all know, like, if it's that perfect number, it's gonna be hard to, get other loans, buy houses, buy cars, really do a lot of things.
Yeah. So debt settlement is going to be, for many folks who have very delinquent or charged off. It means, it's reached the point, maybe 90 days, 80 days past due, that debt has reached the point of so far being delinquent that it's actually written off against that individual's credit. So debt settlement can be a worthwhile option of going in and resolving it usually you have to have a lump sum. You're paying maybe 30 to 60, 80% of that outstanding balance. And it should then report, this is the way we would do it at our credit union, should then report as settled for less than the full balance owed. You should see, temporary, or you should see an improvement on your credit by doing that. In contrast, debt consolidation, if you really talk about the great scheme of things, the long-term effect, you really should see benefit on your credit from a debt consolidation. If you're paying off high interest rate credit cards, if you're paying off, maybe you have a loan that's been past due a bit, if you're clearing those, reducing it to a zero balance, that should help you in the long term bounce back and start to rebuild that credit score.
I love it. You've given so many great information. If people are watching and they're like, ooh, I would like to, try to apply for a debt consolidation loan, how can they do that?
Yeah, sure. So here at Spero Financial, very simple on our website. It's Spero, SPERO .financial. You can navigate your web browser to our website and apply online. You can also reach out to our member service center at 800-922-0446 in order to talk further with a representative about this, perhaps set up an appointment with a specialist in one of our branches to apply for a fixed rate personal loan. There are also products out there, just to make sure your listeners know, you can apply for a fixed rate home equity loan. That can be with interest rates so low on mortgages and home equity loans. You may get a good deal there if the amount you owe on your mortgage allows it, the appraised amount on your home allows you to be able to do that. That can be a great solution as well. And I think I mentioned too, finding a credit card that offers a low introductory APR, maybe even a 0% or reduced rate on the front end for 6 or 12 months. That can be a great solution as well. My one caution there is make sure you know what you're getting into. Make sure that if you roll the debt onto a credit card with that low introductory rate, make sure that you can get it paid before, or at least the lion's share of it paid before that rate jumps up on you.
Great information. Hopefully you're going to get people out of debt, help them start enjoying life again, not have to worry about this. Again, you can go to Spero, SPRO .financial. Jeremiah, we appreciate you helping us this morning.
By all means, really happy to join you this morning, Megan. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. Thank you, Jeremiah.